get to the barber or the salon and you wait and wait and wait.
But then I thought to myself, well, if you're a lady and you have to sit here, even if it's just one person in front of you, there's no way you can wait for that one person. At least 3 hours. So I was like, okay, let me go home. And I couldn't find any local tool that was managing appointments and things like that. There was not a single tool. The tool I could find was like, these are companies from the UK and the US. How's a US company after making like over $35 million a year, and they still want to market share in South Africa? Like, come on, guys, let us build and own our market share.
Emmanuel Omokhegbe saw something all of us know way too well. Today, we're cooking with common sense. He built Swift Booked, which is a tool that fixes that.
You know, business isn't actually about what you're doing, but it's about who you are. You can't just allow life to give you something and you just say, okay, cool. Give you something, you say, okay, cool. Every time life hands you something, you just say, okay, cool, and you accept it. Like, no.
If you run a side hustle, a salon, or you're just tired of queues, this one is for you. Grab your spice, Emmanuel. Let's cook.
Awesome.
Hey, welcome to the latest episode of the C.Cast. It's an absolute pleasure having you here today. Before we get into the next guest, I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of what this podcast is about. We are about connecting creativity and technology to uplift the African continent and connect the world to Africa. What we do is we chat to members of our communities. We give them a platform to share their story and to share how they are connecting Africa to the digital economy and the world to Africa. So before we get into this next guest, if you like our content, I just want to remind you to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below about what you think about the conversation. If you want to get more involved in the community, you can also join the WhatsApp group by scanning the QR code. In this group, we'll be able to share opportunities, knowledge with you, and you'll be able to meet other like-minded people of the community. So yeah, we hope to see you in the group soon. Until then, let's get into the episode.
Thanks for having me here. Josh. I've been very excited and very enthusiastic about meeting you. I think what I did was I think a friend of mine first was on your podcast, so I saw him.
Okay.
I don't know if I can mention his name.
Please do.
Talifani.
Okay.
So he was here, I think. And then I went to your TikTok. I was just watching your content. I really enjoyed, what you were doing and, how you were just talking to the youth, trying to bring more awareness, especially when it comes to like tech and all. And I was like, okay, I've got to be on here. And I just literally went onto your LinkedIn. And I think I messaged you on TikTok and then I messaged you on LinkedIn. I do that sometimes. And
man, it just shows you the power of technology and its ability to be able to connect people and also create opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Because looking into the work that you're doing, I think there's a massive opportunity for young people. And, watching the Talafani episode, that was really focused on uplifting the continent, creating opportunities for young people, but also like creating that sense of inspiration just through the experience of other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'd really like to touch on today. But before we get into like the whole conversation around building the business that you're working on today, scaling that, we like to go back to the beginning and look at the ingredients of the meals that you're cooking up today. So going back to like your childhood, like where would you say your interest in entrepreneurship kind of came from?
That's a very good question, and I usually like to be very straightforward about it because I'm not like other people that say, "Oh yeah, I was selling sweets when I was 5." I wasn't selling sweets when I was 5. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor.
Wow.
Right. So I've always been passionate about being a medical doctor, and I was top of my class. Right. I was top 3, top 2, top sometimes. Depends, just changes. So when I was finishing high school, I told like a counselor that I wanted to study medicine. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you're not smart enough, so you can't study medicine." I'm like, if I'm top of the class and I'm not smart enough to do medicine, like what do you
And
So so I never got into medicine. I decided to go into like biology and zoology, studied. And then it was, I think later after like 8 years, I found out that he also wanted to be a medical doctor when he was in school, but he didn't get accepted and he was smart, was like pretty smart, but he didn't get accepted. So that was probably what he projected.
yeah.
I think it was probably 10, 12 years later. I was already I think I was 20 or 21. That was when I started exploring about entrepreneurship. I'm like, okay, I'm just quite curious about this. I decided to take a course on building MVP. So I took an MIT course trying to learn about entrepreneurship. That's when I learned about MVP, and all of those things. And then I had an idea for a product, but I couldn't build it. And I had two ideas actually. The first one, I didn't do anything about it. A year later, I think 3 years later, when I checked, someone else started the same idea in the same year, and the company was worth $3 million.
Wow.
And the second idea was with the checkers. So before COVID happened, I used to have a problem whereby I go to class and then I'll come back late. It's like 5 p.m. and I couldn't get groceries because the malls are closed. I'm like, this is so because I can't skip class just to go buy groceries and. So I wish there was a way to request. So I spoke to a friend and it was like, oh no, you can't do it. How are you gonna manage logistics? How are you gonna pay drivers? How are you gonna do that? Are you gonna go to the shops and. So he discouraged me. And then I started coding that. I started learning how to code at that time. And then that same year, a girl from VIT, she built the Checkers 6060 algorithm, and
Wow.
Checkers is what it is today.
Mad.
That's scary.
And you look at the kind of revenue that's being generated from a product like Checkers 6060, and it's literally eclipsing the revenue of completely full other supermarkets.
Yeah.
Not just their delivery apps, the entire revenue that they're
Yeah.
generating as a supermarket.
Yeah.
So it just shows you like the power of tech, the power of convenience, also the direction in which the world is headed. People value convenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you also mentioned like a little bit of your schooling and, growing up. I want to get more into that. Like, because you weren't born in South Africa. You grew up in Nigeria,
Yeah.
right? What was that like?
I think, to be honest with you, most of my childhood, I think it's just, I don't have very solid memory of it, if I'm being honest. But the part I could remember was my dad. So my dad is is an entrepreneur, runs a car and oil business. So he was like, stay in school, stay in school. I'm like, no, Dad, I want to learn entrepreneurship. I want to come to your shop. I want to see what you're doing. Like, oh, stay in school. And I was doing so well in school, it was becoming boring for me, And I told him I want to come to his shop, and he never let me, So I never got introduced to entrepreneurship very early, even though, like, many of my family members, or specifically my dad, was an entrepreneur, right? So from there, with meeting people, it's going to school. I was like, you know what? I think I love medicine. I was actually planning to study medicine. So even after I did not get accepted, or I did not go for medicine, it was my goal to be a medical doctor. So I think that did not change. So over the years, I just kept, building myself, building my skills. So I never knew about tech. I never knew about it. And I didn't know what me being a founder was. I didn't know what a business was, So I think most of my childhood was mostly about me just being an academic, just being good at my academics and being good at my books, and I was also not very social. So growing up, I think people didn't like me. I don't know. Yeah, I think now people, like, I'm not the best, but it's easy for people to like me. But before, people absolutely didn't like me, because I just kept to myself.
Okay.
I just kept to myself. I didn't talk to people. So because of that, people thought I was proud. And I was just shy, and I don't know how to talk to people. I was not very social. So I keep to myself. And sometimes people interpret it as, oh yeah, this guy's very proud, is pompous, is feeling himself. And I'm not. I don't know how to interact socially.
Yeah.
I don't understand social cues sometimes. So that went on for many years, for over 8 years,
Sure.
even the first university, because I've been to a first university, University of Benin, Nigeria. When I was there, I was alone in my room. I was always alone in my room for like a year. The first year,
A whole year.
for a whole year, I wasn't coming.
Was this COVID?
This is not COVID.
Oh my
This
god.
is like
We had no
20
excuses.
So but like, I was just at home every time I come from class, like I get back home, I just lock my door and I'm indoors the entire day, the entire night.
Oh my goodness.
Till the next day, go back to school, come back home, stay inside till the next. Like, I did that for almost a year, and someone had to just come to me and say, Emmanuel, like, what are you doing? Go meet people, like, So he dragged me out. So every time that I've interacted with people, it's usually people just pulling me, and introducing me to their group, or like bringing me out of my comfort zone and just like helping me interact with other people. So, but then with time, of course, I've built up that, social skills to just interact with people.
Nice. Would you say that like that thing of having friends that pulled you out of your comfort zone played a role in terms of you going into entrepreneurship? Because, entrepreneurship is very much about being outside of your comfort zone. So I'd be curious to see like if there's an overlap there.
I think so. I'm a very stubborn person when it comes to like a goal. When it comes to, if I want to achieve something, I go for it. Like even if the world is ending, I go for that goal. I achieve it, then the world can end. You know. So I think
Where does that come from?
so. I'm going to say this. I don't think I've told. Okay, since I've not told a lot of people about this. Probably I've
The
watched.
C.Cast exclusive.
Hey, so this is how this is a very tricky psychological advancement or a psychological growth in me that I'm not sure if it's related to business per se, but it's more personal, and I'm going to
Okay.
share it. So, like I said, people didn't like me, right? And the reason for that is because I kept to myself and I wasn't too friendly. So because of that, they thought I was proud. Now, because I thought they were proud, or because I saw that they didn't like me, I loved myself and I
Okay.
became confident alone. And I owned my being alone. I owned it. And I'm like, I don't care if you guys are playing soccer and having fun. I'm gonna do something and have fun. And so I became very confident in being myself, being alone, being able to do things by myself without seeking approval, without seeking validation. So every time I do things, I'm just doing it for myself. So I think that is what seeped into me when it comes to like business. Because even for the business, I didn't care what anyone was saying. Like people were trying to study, trying to get a job. I didn't care. I was taking risk. I was leaving my job. Like I remember after my studies, I went because I first studied biology and zoology, and then I wanted to study biomedical science, and then I wanted to do software engineering, and then before I started a company. So when I was doing biomedical science, I was working in Cape Town at some point, and I was working as a scientist. And I'm like, this is not for me. This is so boring. Like I don't care, and I quit my job. Within a few months of working, quit my job, came back to Randburg, without any backup plan, without being scared, without being like, oh no, please help me. Like, no, I just take the risk. I'm like, listen, whatever will happen, happen. I don't care.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I just pass out or whatever. That's the end of me. But who
But it's
cares?
also that confidence in yourself, which came from like you being on your own all the time. You knew like what you have to give, and you had confidence in that. That's interesting because, like, did you grow up with siblings at all?
I did. I have 7
Wow.
7 siblings, but I grew up with one of them.
Okay.
So like me and my younger brother, we grew up together, and then the other 5 grew up with my parents. So I grew up with my grandparents and my brother, and then my siblings grew up with my parents.
Wow. So the reason why I was asking that question is because I'm an only child.
Okay.
So I can relate to like what you're saying in the sense where, I was always alone growing up. I didn't have a sibling or someone to be with at home. So that also, I wonder if there's like a tangency there between that and entrepreneurship, because that like isolation element is massive when it comes to being an entrepreneur. There's no one who understands exactly what you're going through because you're kind of you doing all the stuff on your own. So you can't go to family because they're never going to understand all the intricacies of your business.
Exactly.
The people who do understand the intricacies are your people that are working in the business, but you can't go to them and say like, look, I don't know how we're going to pay everyone next month, because that's going to kick them out. Like, how are you going to work, not with that on your mind? So all of these things, they create a space for isolation. And I think that one thing that you said is so important is like that skill. I don't know if it's a skill is the right word, but being able to not worry about what other people think. Because I think in society nowadays, a lot of people are doing things based off of, what other people think of them.
Yeah.
And that thing is like massive. And I think especially like in South Africa, I'm not too sure how it is in Nigeria. I've never been to Nigeria. I hope to be there at some point. But in South Africa, what we see a lot of is like, there's like a pressure to look a certain way, to have certain things. And I think that's something that's really holding back the youth. But, taking it back to, the youth and creating opportunities and building businesses, creating employment, which is what we're trying to do on this podcast. Where did this idea of like creating an app for barbershops and salons come from? Like, were you sitting one day waiting at the barbershop and you're like, damn, we need to change this? Like, how did that come to your mind?
So I think for me, I think I always like to give the root story or the origin story before
Okay,
I get there.
let's go.
And to answer your previous question in terms of like seeking validation, and that was me. So that was me, I think, few months ago, but in the creative space, so in content creation.
Wow.
So I always used to tell myself, oh, um, I don't know what people will say about me. People are going to judge. People are going to say, oh, you are this, you're that, you're different, you're not like us, and things like that. And I don't want to feel judged. I always told myself I like to keep to myself, mind my own business, things like that. But I was like, you know what? I need to tell my story. People need to know my origin story. I need to put myself out there.
Yeah.
And I did that and recently went viral on TikTok.
Wow.
Like literally, I've never had, and something told me you're going to go viral again this year. I'm like, okay, cool. So to answer your second question now with the sweet book thing, I think it started when I went to go cut my hair. So I'm always looking out for ideas, right? Like I'm thinking about, okay, how can I optimize something? How can I fix this? How can I make this better? And when I was cutting my hair, I was like, okay, someone is in front of me. It's going to take 45 minutes for them to be done. Okay, that's cool. That's not bad. It's a Saturday. I don't really have anywhere that I have to go. I'm not going out or anything. So that's cool. But then I thought to myself, but if you're a lady, imagine you're a lady and you have to sit here. Even if it's just one person in front of you, there's no way you can wait for that one person.
Yeah.
There's no way, So
Hours.
exactly, at least 3 hours,
And
So-
what are you doing in that time?
Exactly. Pressing your phone for 3 hours, you can't, So I was like, okay, let me go home. Let me see what technology is it, what tools are there to support it. And I checked online and I couldn't find any local tool that was doing this job properly, like managing appointments and things like that. There was not a single tool. The tool I could find was like, the Fresher, the Booksy. These are companies from the UK and the US. So they're here trying to get market share. And I'm like, okay, this is very weird. How's a US company after making like over $35 million a year? And they still want to market share in South Africa. Like, come on, guys, let us build and own our market share,
Yeah.
So I decided to like do a bit more research, do a dive, try to see really why this is actually a problem, if it's worth solving. I spoke to a friend of mine who owns a luxury salon, and I'm like, would you use this thing? Would you say, like, yeah, because I can't be texting everybody. Sometimes I'm busy on a client's hair, and then someone is calling me to pick up. And if I pick up, that client I'm busy on is going to get angry. And I don't want to do that.
And then
So I'm like, okay, cool. How much would you pay for this? She's like, I'll pay 300 per month. Like, really? Yeah. And she did pay. I'm like, okay, awesome. And then that was when I went to go build. The first version, we built it in like 4 weeks.
Sure.
We built 4 weeks, launched it. Within 6 weeks, we made about $300.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, this is good. This amount to something.
Yeah.
And that was when I, started reiterating and, growing the business from there.
And now you studied medicine, right? You're in the biological
Yeah.
sciences space. And now you've moved over into tech. Like, how do you go from there to tech? Like, how do you go from that to now creating apps for salons?
Yeah. I think I was mentioning to your team earlier that I just like to take risk. I just like to just explore. Like, I feel like life is for living, and there's no point in just taking one path and not knowing what anything else. Like, I like to see what lies ahead of me, what opportunities lies ahead of me, and I like to take different paths. The reason for that is because at the end of the day, most of the time you might stumble on something, you might know it and get straight to it, that's fine, but you might stumble upon it. And for me, yes, I do know what I want in terms of like, I wanted to be a doctor, and that some form of passion is still there for it. But I also love tech. I also love running a business. I also love like entrepreneurship, So I think it was during my schooling days when I was in VAR. I went to the VAR University, and when I was studying, I saw that a lot of my classmates they wanted to do medicine as well, but they got biomed. Do you understand? So most of them, like more than 50% of them wanted to do medicine, but they got biomed. I'm like, okay, but guys, this is your life. Like, you can't just say, okay, cool, we didn't get medicine, we got this, let's just settle for this. Like that's just one
Yeah,
thing.
you play
Like,
by default.
no, you can't just allow life to give you something and you just say, okay, cool. It gives something, you say, okay, cool. Every time life hands you something, you just say, okay, cool, and you accept it. Like, no. So I started doing research. I started, working with high school students. So I was going to Sibo King, like those townships, talking to students. I even hired a psychologist to talk to students. And that was my first startup. It's called the Student's Dream. It was to help high school students to find out what they're passionate about and choose a career using psychometric testing and AI and using their hobbies. So the only problem with that was we spent 4 years there. We couldn't build the product. But a friend of mine ended up building something similar, and they're successful. They raised over $100,000 recently.
Wow.
So
And like people don't realize there's money in this world, hey?
There is.
Like $100,000. That's like what, over 2 million or just under 2 million rands. That's money.
That is.
And that's from an idea.
And there's space for more.
And there's space for more.
I failed in my, because after 4 years, because I had my best friend. My best friend left. I had my best friend there. I had so many of my friends and people that I know there, and they all left. You know, and the company closed, and I'm like, okay, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But that was lesson for me. I learned a lot. You know,
what did you learn from that?
Okay, the first obvious one. I used to be a micromanager. I think it's because I like to control everything. Like to control my life. You know, at least most of the things I can control. But then I also like to be aware of everything that's happening. So with my team, I'm like, okay, what are you working on? What are you stuck on? I like to go to them. So even though I'm doing it from a place of, hey, I just want to help, just let me know I can help. You know, they felt pressure. They felt like I'm just like looking down, like peering on them and micromanaging them. And they didn't like that. So it was not very productive for them. So at the end, they just end up leaving, or they end up getting suffocated or something. So I learned that was a very bad tactic, because I also had experience with it. Someone did that to me when I was working for some people. They were like, what did you do this? To the point of I used to wake up and get anxiety because I'm about to start the day. I'll get anxiety. And I'm like, I don't want people to feel like that when they work with me.
You're having dreams of this person over your shoulders. Like, hey, what you doing?
You literally have nightmares that someone is about to tell you, okay, what are you going to do today? Like, you know. So the next time I started my next company, I was more relaxed. I'm like, listen, I'm here. If you need me, just let me know. If you're stuck for a day or two, come to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, have fun. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is the only thing I need from you is I'm going here or I'm going there. That's my goal. Let's get there. How you get there, it's not my problem. You understand? Do whatever you want. Take a plane, take a boat, drive a car. It's fine. Walk, it's cool. As long as you get there. If you're stuck, come to me. We'll brainstorm together. We'll keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's now my mentality when it comes to, like, you know, leadership and running a team and, you know, working with people.
And like, what kind of advice would you have for someone who's a part of that team, right? Because from your perspective, you're speaking from the person who's running everything, right? But most people are not entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Most people want the comfort. They want, you know, to be able to obviously feel like they're a part of something, but not take that massive risk.
Yeah.
So like, would you say that there were any lessons there that might be useful for someone who's not an entrepreneur?
Definitely. So this when you were talking, I got very excited because I was thinking about my colleagues that I work with, and I'm like, gosh, like when they talk to me, because sometimes I talk to them and I guess, what do you think about me? And like, Emmanuel, you're such an annoying, but I'm joking. You're not. I'm like, okay. But here is something interesting that I found, and I'm going to tell you why. Most of the guys that work with me now, if they go work for a different company, immediately they'll be different.
Sure.
I can assure you. If anyone that has worked for me go work for someone else, that the owner of that company would immediately see, nah, this is not a normal person.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you why. When people work with me, I don't treat them as employees. I treat them as co-owners. I like the moment you start work, I give you a co-owner mentality. This is not a job. I'm not going to just pay you because you worked. You understand? We need to make more money, because the more money we make, the more money I pay you.
Yeah.
So we are in this together. You understand? And that is literally how I treat them. So I'm like, how do you take responsibility for this? So I work with the team and make them to, you know, build the, should I say, not just the experience of working, but also the, what's the word? I'm trying to use the word. Investment, but also like the confidence. That's the word. So if you're working for a company, right? If you're not an entrepreneur, you're working for a company, have a co-owner mentality. Because unless you're an entrepreneur and you're just biding time so you can leave and go do your own thing, that's fine. But if you know you're not an entrepreneur, but you love your job, have a co-owner mentality. That would get you far. Because people like that are the people that get leadership role in companies. People like that are the people that get more authority, that are trusted with more, you understand, in companies. So don't just say, oh, this is my job. I've done what you told me to do. I'm done. No. Okay, they told you to do 1, 2, 3. That 1, 2, 3, how does it benefit the company? Analyze that. And then it's okay, cool. How can I also add my personal touch that could make this even better or even more valuable? You understand? And present that to your team, or present that to your team leader or to your leader. You understand? If you think that way, your contribution would be seen immediately and very fast. It wouldn't be a matter of who worked hardest, who spent 8 hours working a week. No, it's a matter of who brought more value, who did something, told us about it, and the value we could see it physically. Understand? That's what you want to be doing. Yeah.
I think that's one of the benefits of working in a smaller company is
Yes.
your every action that you take has a bigger consequence towards whether the company succeeds or
Yeah.
fails. And I think when you're working in a bigger company,
It's very hard to do that.
it's less, your action has less impact on the success or
Yeah.
failure of that business. So what lands up happening is in bigger businesses, you have a lot more inefficiencies because the consequence of being inefficient is not as great as if you are working in a smaller organization.
Yeah.
And I think that can it can hold bigger companies back in a sense, which is not a bad thing because it falls into the bigger ecosystem which we operate. Because
Yeah.
if the bigger guys are going to be slower, then that creates an opportunity for the smaller guys to fill gaps, right? But in a sense, I think it also creates this problem that we see a lot of, which is this lack of purpose that we see in the workspace, where people go to work to get a salary at the end of the day. And I think one thing you realize, like when you start making more money, is that your happiness is not necessarily tied to how much
bank
money
account.
you're making. And you find people that are working like in these companies making a lot of money, but the happiness element is not there. My theory is that it comes from that lack of purpose and lack of feeling like the actions that you take have any consequence in this world. Would you agree with that? Or I can see you thinking there.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with that. Like 100%. 100% agree with that. And that is why I think if you can't find purpose in work because of how big the workspace is, it's okay. Because there are some companies that if you try to innovate, they would end you. They would you will lose your job or they'll make you miserable. And
But
you don't-
it's like eating concrete at that
exactly,
point.
you don't want that. So if you feel like there's no purpose in your job, that's fine. Do what you think you should do to get your salary. That's cool. Like remember with life, nothing in life really hurts us. It's up here. Like you working for a salary, it's not a bad thing. But it's your mind that tells you, but I'm not happy. That's why you feel like it's a bad thing. Because someone says do something, you do it and you get paid. That's good. That's what even entrepreneurs do. The only difference now is we're not the one working it. We're leveraging different people and different technologies to do it.
Yeah.
So it's still the same. It's exchange of value. But now what you should be doing is, okay, cool. My salary is doing what I need it to do. My job or my company is doing what I need to do, pay my bills. What do I need to do to be happy? And that's where you now go find what you need to do. If it means you're working less time, you understand, or maybe making less money, but more time to go do those things, it's fine. Because life is for living. Life is not for working. You're going to pass out and you're gone out of the world, So either you're taking a little salary or you're taking your salary, but if you have time, go do the things that make you happy. So if you want to start selling biscuits, go sell biscuits. If you want to start taking a walk, go. If you want to clean the beach, go do it. If you want to start teaching kids, maybe tutoring them, or go teach them. Do whatever you feel will bring fulfillment outside of your job, so that you can find the happy element outside of your job and in a place where you want to find it.
What do you do that makes you happy?
I mean, I'm doing what makes me happy. I'm running a company. I'm coding. I think one of my most exciting experience with code maybe this year was, maybe not this year, last year, was where the day we launched, people were using the platform, but then we did not have. So the way we did was our payments integration took 48 hours to process. We're using PayStack, so it takes 48 hours. So clients were making payments on the platform, but then the payments would take 48 hours to come to us before we can send to them. And we get clients calling us like, guys, I want money today. Like, come on, it takes 2 days. Like, no. So that was one of the most exciting circles. We spent 6 hours from 10 to 3 changing that.
Wow.
So that was so I'm doing what I love already. Like this pressured coding, software engineering, I'm building products. I'm even working on a new product as well. It's a social networking app.
Okay.
So I just enjoy building stuff. So that for me is what brings me fulfillment. I think for me, if I want anything more, it's not just meeting people. I think that's something I'm starting to enjoy. Just meeting people, hearing how people think. It's very fascinating to see how people's mind works and people's beliefs and values and what they hold important. So it's like, okay, interesting.
Hey, hold on. I just need to remind you very quickly to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below about what you think about this episode. We need to be able to tell the algorithm on YouTube that we are creating content that is valuable. So please engage with this content, whether you're listening to it on YouTube or on Spotify or whatever platform, please engage. It just helps us reach more people, brings more people into the community, which means more access to knowledge and opportunities for you, a member of the community. So please don't forget to engage on this video or this audio podcast and leave a like, comment, or subscribe and give it a share. Thank you so much. We'll hop back into the episode.
There was a previous guest that we had on, Lucanio, who's he's a musician or a performing artist, a recording artist, and he was talking about how every person is a main character in their own movie. And when you realize that, you can then empathize and see, okay, cool, there might be this thing here, but you have this perspective coming from this side, and they have this perspective coming on this side. You're looking at the exact same thing, but the angle is completely different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it gives you a broader understanding of what that thing actually is. Because on this side, it might be red, on this side, it might be blue. Now you're spending your whole time arguing about what color it is. Meanwhile, it's both colors.
I used to argue a lot. So I argue a lot so much that sometimes people that can't stand it don't talk to me.
You're a debater.
I used to debate. And that's obviously, again, like I said, with time, I evolved. I'm like, nah, there's no point. Whatever you think, you're right.
Yeah.
Whatever you think is the end, that's correct.
And it's the power of the mind, right?
It's the power of the mind. So I allow people to think in any way they want to think. And I'm like, wait, that's how you think, that's okay. And it's how I think, and that's okay. And we don't have to understand it. If we understand each other, cool. If we don't, cool.
Yeah.
We're not wrong. We're both not wrong, and we're both right in our own sense.
Yeah. And what can we learn from each of those different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Because it might be of benefit for me to know that side is red, and it might be beneficial for me to know that this side is blue.
Very good taken.
So, we can both learn from each other's perspectives, and that's the beauty of connection, right? Was there a time in your business where you felt like, damn, I'm completely cooked right now. This thing is not working. I'm gonna quit. Like, talk to me about that time. Yesterday.
I mean, it's a daily thing. It's a weekly thing. At least once a week or once a month, you should get that.
Sure.
No, you should get that. It's your system. I don't want to say your nervous system.
Kick in the butt.
Yeah, but it's just a reminder that you're not God. So
yeah.
You don't have absolute control, but at least you're sane. So I think sometimes when I I think one of the most difficult things for companies is sales.
Yeah.
Sales. And I was speaking to someone the other day, the sales expert. And I was talking to me like, hey man, you're losing quite a lot of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sure.
On clients because you don't have a sales system. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. And the way I'm getting sales now, it's not very reliant and not sustainable. And that is the problem with business, right? Many business have sales problem, and the problem now is they don't just have a sales problem, they don't have a sales system. And they don't even know how. Like, you can get somebody now and give them a lead or whatever, and they might not know what to do with it. Or they might not know how to take that person from being a lead to being a client. So I also had that problem, and I think we're trying to get better now. I'm trying to build some systems. Like I said, I think I spoke to you before the podcast. I was like, we're building AI automation. So I run another software company apart from this book, which is the tech company, the SaaS product. We run a software company where we help founders that want to build products, right? We don't say, hey, let's say we're just going to code you your stuff. No, I'm a founder, so I understand what is important when building a product. So that's the mindset I use in building product for founders. And then for business, we build AI automations and even customized solutions. So AI softwares, So I built a sales agent, AI sales agent. I can, search for leads, qualify the leads, and then send them to you. Like, hey, these people, they have the money to pay for it and they want what you're selling. Well, at least they will want what you're selling as long as you tell them.
Yeah.
So you just have to now tell them and get them to be clients. So that's kind of something that is very valuable for business and something we're also building for business and for ourselves.
Okay. And that time, one of these times, I just want you to go into one of these times where you were this close to quitting. What happened in that moment?
I think if I were to recall, one of the closest time where I was this close to quitting was when nothing was working. The business wasn't doing well. worrying closing leads, and it was so bad. I almost had to go get a job. Actually, if I'm real, I hate jobs. I hate it. It's not to say I'm not a good, okay, I'm not a good employee. That's a fact. And, but I can do a good job at what I do. I'm good at what I do, but I think my brain or my body, everything about me is just not built for that. So it was so bad. The business was going through a difficult time. I couldn't even pay employees. I just say, guys, we'll pause and, right. You guys can do whatever. Or you guys can go get another job or whatever. But we're pausing. I need to breathe. I need to pay bills. So I had to get something on the side, get a job, but only for a couple of months. And while I was doing that, I was trying to resuscitate things.
What led to it getting to that point, do you think?
I think this is why right now I'm implementing the system. I think it's because I never had a system.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get a client here and then I go talk to the person. Okay, cool. But now that's it.
Yeah.
There's no process. There's no code emailing. There's no DMing. Nothing is happening. So
Yeah.
do you want someone to fall from heaven and say, Emmanuel, I want this stuff? No. In fact, there's some people that want what you have or what you're selling, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
So you actually need to say, hey, listen, the way you're doing this is actually wrong. You're actually supposed to do it like this. That is when they will become my clients. Educate them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you need to do nurture. You nurture leads. Granted, there are some people that immediately know what they want and they want you to help them out with it. But most people don't know what they want, or they don't know if you're the right person to help them with it.
And you don't know what you don't know. So you might think this is the right way to do it, but
exactly.
There's a much better way.
And that is why I decided to start doing content creation. So even on LinkedIn, I've started, trying to build my brand on LinkedIn, and it's growing so far. And on TikTok, it's just still just playful, not playful per se, but just because TikTok is easy to forget people for people to forget you. So
yeah,
it's short form content, so everybody there have low attention span.
Yeah,
so they will forget your face after one swipe. So it's my focus there is just for at least so I have more content on the internet. But I'm trying to now build a YouTube audience. So I think that's my next focus. So building content, building audience, that would increase your trust and that would bring more clients because now they trust you and they watch your content and they see what you can do and they see what you've done for other people. So yeah.
Okay. So that situation you said it was the lack of a sales system that now led to the point where there wasn't any income coming in and then you had to take a break to kind of get that going again.
Yeah.
That's interesting to say because one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from one of my mentors actually, and there's always there's two ways to learn. You either go through it yourself, you fail, you get back up, and you learn from that, or you go to someone else who's fallen and failed and learn from their experience. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that this guy gave me was that you need to have, you can't be stuck in the now. You need to be thinking ahead. So you might have all the clients and be generating income now, but that's not going to be there forever. So you have to have that pipeline of what's the next thing to come. And you have to start building that when things feel good now. And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong, especially in the entrepreneurship space, is you get this big contract, you're working with this client that you've been working to land for so long. You get them, you're doing the work, everything's going fine, and then you feel comfortable. And then that comfort creates a situation where you're not thinking about what's next to come. And then what lands up happening is, all these things have a life cycle, whether it's a client or even a business. All of these things have a life cycle. So at some point it's going to end. And if you're not thinking about what the next thing is, once that thing that you're currently in ends, then you land up in that situation where you don't have the next, or you've lost this thing that was keeping you going. And now it's a situation where you're kind of stuck. Was that similar to what you went through there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, as you're speaking, I'm like, I really need to fix this system. Even right now, like I said yesterday, because it's and I'm asking myself, business is hard, guys. I'm not gonna kid you. Yes, it's fun to be your own boss and run a company and be a founder. But business is hard.
Yeah.
You don't stop. You say you're an employee, you're working for 40 hours a week and you're running on the hamster. That's not hamster. You're just playing. Business, you're turning that merry-go-round. You're the one turning it. Because if you don't turn it, people at the top will fall and die.
Yeah.
So you need to turn it. So for me, as you're speaking about this, and it got me thinking, and that's exactly one of the things that even happened to us not quite long ago, and like you said, I think for me, that's why it's very important that you plan ahead. so you don't get complacent. Because it's so good when these are coming from here. Like there were months where we get these here, like, oh, okay, four projects, like working on it simultaneously, and everything is good. Before you know, it's quiet. 2, 3, 4 months, nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. And I think
know?
that's like a mindset that, a lot of people, especially young people in Africa are struggling with, is that thing of like moving from a mindset of like right now to moving to a mindset of the future.
Yeah.
And it's not the fault of anyone. It's just the current context in which we operate,
Yeah.
because we're operating from a place of scarcity. There's
Yeah.
so little job opportunities. There's so little money in circulation that, you have to be so locked into now just to get beyond today, tomorrow, next week, next month. So thinking 5 years, 10 years is like a luxury when you don't know what you're going to eat tonight. So I think that's something that, we struggle with a lot. And I think, I don't know what the solution is to that. I don't know if you have any ideas.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm really working on right now is, okay, I'll say it again. Business is hard, guys. Just know that. Like, I'm not. It's not a joke. I'm not. There's no fancy where. Oh yeah, it's cool. It's fun. Like, nah, this is not the United States where they give you 10 million for an idea, or you're in stealth. You come out, you're raising 10 million. Like, nah. In Africa, business is especially harder than anywhere in the world. That's fine. That's cool. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, doesn't mean you should not do it. Do you understand? People are doing it. Someone needs to start the next business. Like all those people that are looking for jobs or working for a company, someone started it. They didn't just raise up from the dirt. Someone started it. So that's where you come in. Cool. Let's start the business. Now, in business, I'm going to tell you a secret of business. I'm going to tell you something I've actually learned. Business isn't actually about what you're doing, but it's about who you are.
Okay.
Your business is not, oh yeah, I'm building software clients, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But it's actually about like, who am I? How am I growing? My mindset, and especially the mindset. And I heard you when you said something about like the scarcity mindset. And that's one of the problems in business. That scarcity mindset is not from the business. The business is not, the business is just there doing it. It's you. The business is you. Whether you have people working for you and you're not doing anything, that's fine. But it's still you. It's still your mind that is in the business. And if you have a scarcity mindset, the business would dry up. So you as an entrepreneur, you as a founder, you need to develop an abundance mindset. And how do you develop an abundance mindset? You ask yourself, okay, cool. There are 8 billion people in the world, guys. Are you telling me I can't find one client from 8 billion people? Okay, let's go down. There's 500 million people in Africa, at least. And you think I can't find one person
that has money that can pay
like,
to do something.
You understand? So that's the mindset that you. So for me, when I see myself starting to think, oh my God, it's so tough. I'm like, what the hell? It's not even that bad. What are you saying? There's opportunity out there.
Yeah.
Every morning when I wake up, I tell myself, there's so much opportunity. I can't wait to just get this opportunity. There's so much opportunity. Guys, you have not even seen anything. I am still broke right now. I've not, like, this is just the minimum I'll be. What opportunity there?
What's the biggest opportunity you've seen?
For me personally, or the one I'm saying? Are you asking for me personally or for the one I've seen?
Just in general.
Okay, so for example, now a lot of founders, right, or a lot of people are getting into starting a company because, oh yeah, it's easy to vibe code now. But the problem is, it's not even about the idea. You understand? It's not about the product. It's about the idea and how you can make the idea, like how you can validate the idea and get someone to pay you for it. Do you understand? So that means more people would want products, but more people would want to validate. So if you're running a software company, or if you're a software engineer, or you're freelance or whatever, that's more people you can assist. Because now, initially, not everybody's starting tech companies, but now everybody can start tech companies. So that means almost everybody's your client.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, partnership is the best. I always leverage partnerships. Like big software companies have guys that are coming to them saying, I want to build software, but my budget is 200K or 100K. Those guys are not going to collect it. Like, for example, companies like Intellect, they're not going to collect a project if it's like 50K or 100K because it's way too small for their budget. Like 50K or 100K, that's how much they would pay 2 guys in their company.
Yeah.
Where's their profit? Nothing. But you can do it because it's just you and probably 1 person or 2 more persons. You can do it. 50K, 100K will go a long way for you.
Yeah.
So you can tell them, okay, guys, if you don't want that project, please give it to me. Let me be your partner, small partner. That's it.
Nice.
You go to brand companies. This is what I'm doing. You go to branding companies. Okay, branding companies, they're doing branding for companies, for founders or for startups or for companies. And you tell them, okay, why don't we partner? Your design that you do for them, we can implement it in software. Okay, you got it. You go to marketing companies. Why don't we partner? The companies you're doing marketing for, the startups you're doing marketing for, we can help them to increase their tech thing, whatever. They're like, okay, cool. You partner. You go to consulting companies. Consulting companies tell the clients, okay, you need to implement AI here, here, here. You go to them like, hey, we can implement the AI. We can split the profit. You're good. That's already 5 companies that you can partner with that can already bring. You see what I'm saying? And I've not even. Do you know how many branding companies, marketing companies, software companies in the world? And I've not even started talking about actual now the clients, reaching out to the actual clients.
Yeah.
These are just from partnerships.
Subsidiary businesses.
You see where the opportunity is coming from. I can tell you for a fact because right now we've closed brand partnerships, we've closed software companies, and we're closing a current consulting companies.
Sure.
This is just going to be partnerships.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about cold leads. I'm not talking about cold emails or DMs or the actual outreach to clients. I'm not talking about content because content also brings you clients. I'm not talking about those things.
Yeah.
And I'm not even done.
Yeah.
She said.
And there's a key lesson in that, and it's that businesses have core capabilities. So you'll have a business that's really good at developing software, but they're not great at branding.
Yeah.
But in order to develop that software, you need to brand it. There's an opportunity. So you can't be good at everything. So that thing of finding what you're good at and then finding someone else who's good at something else, but needs that thing that you're good at and tagging onto them, the business is already there. You just need to add on to that. And there's money to be made in that space. So that's like massive opportunity. And there's also like going back to, Swiftbook, there's how many businesses are on the app at this point?
We've got over 500.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's increasing. It's just over 500, but the ones that are actually actively using it are like 50, 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like those 50, 60 to 500 people, there's much more people online that are using WhatsApp to conduct their businesses, right? What advice do you have for these guys who are using WhatsApp to build their businesses?
So WhatsApp is an awesome platform, and I'm going to tell you why. SwiftBooked, we recently launched our AI agent on WhatsApp that can handle bookings.
Wow.
You understand? We're like, you know what, yeah? We want to meet your clients where they are. Clients, everything is all about consumer behavior. Like when you walk out here, you know how things should be. You know the reception should be there. You know you should be able to talk to the receptionist and get info. It's just consumer behavior.
Yeah.
So when people want to book an appointment with their stylist, they just go immediately to WhatsApp or they start calling. Now with the SwiftBot, so it's called SwiftBot. So it's our AI agent. With SwiftBot, these customers can go on WhatsApp, but instead of texting you, the client, the stylist, they would text SwiftBot, say they want to book an appointment with you. SwiftBot would arrange the appointment, book it, add it to your calendar, add it to their calendar, and send you a reminder, a WhatsApp message saying, hey, Emmanuel is coming tomorrow around 10 o'clock for his haircut or whatever, without you ever doing anything.
Sure.
And remember, this is a service-based business. So your time is valuable. So if you can be saving 2-3 hours a week, value.
That's 2 or 3 more clients that
Exactly.
you can service.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sheesh. Yeah, no. So I think that's a very strong value proposition. Just outside of SwiftBooks, would you have any advice for them in terms of like how to leverage technology in their businesses to help, further scale them?
Yeah. So I think one thing I would say for sure is technology is the future. We started with the internet, started with social media. We've been seeing the ROI in all of this platform, and they've been massive. Like there are companies that have been built to millions just based on social media. Nothing. They didn't build a mall. They didn't have an office. Just online.
Yeah.
And they have millions. I imagine what AI can do for your business. If you were making, let's say, for example, you're a 2 million rands a year business, right? Every year, and maybe your profit margin is like 500K or whatever, 200K. With AI, it can cut your costs because there's 2 ways to make money: increase revenue or reduce costs. Do you understand? AI can cut your costs and also increase revenue.
Wow.
Because it has more output. You see it?
Yeah.
So that way you look at it, your business and say, okay, how can I leverage it? Because to use AI, and I think this is something I wanted to this is actually my key reason why I actually reached out to you, because people don't know how to use AI. They just text in ChatGPT and that's it. But to use AI or to get the value of AI, you need to actually understand your business. What in my business can I scale? What in my business can I reduce costing? Or what in my business can I automate? So that I either have more time or make more money or save more money.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But that's what you want to be looking out for. So
Sheesh. And it's all about just like having that curiosity to go and like think about it or go online and research it and see, because those little things, and you're kind of touching on it earlier on in the conversation where you're talking about how something along the lines of you always moving, you're always living your life.
yeah.
And with that comes with movement. You're walking in a direction, doesn't matter
Yeah.
what direction it is.
Yeah.
You can't stumble into things if you're not moving.
Yeah.
And that thing of being able to get up and just try something different every day, eventually you're going to run into something
Yeah.
that makes sense, something that's going to help you get to where you want to go. So I think that curiosity for me is something that's the most important thing this day and age of technology, because there's so many things that are being launched and released every day. And the barrier to create this technology is lowering every day. So it's just going to keep increasing, whether it be people creating software, people creating content, people starting businesses. All of these things they're exploding right now. Even. So in order to be able to function in that world where everything is exploding so quickly, you have to be at the forefront of it.
Yeah.
And in order to be at the forefront, you have to be curious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that you reached out, because it made me curious about your business, and you obviously were curious about what we're doing here on the podcast. So that this conversation has satisfied that curiosity to a degree. But going forward, this world that we're living in, like, what's next on the menu for you?
So I think what I see happening is, like you said, the barrier for building stuff is low. Initially, for me to experiment with an idea or whatever, I'd have to code it out, and that could take me weeks. And sometimes I want to focus on other more valuable things or clients' project and things like that, and I can't build mine. But now with AI, a weekend I'm done, a day I'm done, and I just put it in the market. Even right now, there's a product, the social networking one I'm talking about. I'm not even done building it. I already have people giving me money.
Wow.
Like I've literally just said, okay, cool, give me the money. Like, okay, cool, it's just 50 rands. Okay, give me. So it's going to be a subscription of 50 rands per month, but that's something.
Yeah.
So I've already gotten the validation. I'm like 50% done with the product.
Sure.
So because of the fact that AI is now there, even myself as a software engineer, I can move so fast, 10x faster, and ship out products so fast. Even if they fail, it's fine. Next, can just rotate all of them. And the thing with building software or building a product is you never know which one you would succeed, which one would win. So you just have to experiment, trying out different things, but try it out.
Yeah.
And always just like have fun doing it.
So keep moving.
Yeah.
With coding, right? Someone who has no coding knowledge, what is your opinion on vibe coding? Is it possible to create a product that can be used by users without having knowledge of, like, a software engineer?
Yeah. So I think, yes, you can do that. Yes, you can get it. You can almost get it to production. It's just most people struggle with getting to production, like getting to a point whereby someone can use it and it's value enough for someone to pay for it or at least like the product. So what you want to do as a vibe coder or as a non-technical person is either prototype your idea. Like the one thing there's one thing you want to prove. That one hypothesis, prove it. Don't build 5 things. Don't say, yes, I wanted to do this. Like, nah. I've done that before and it doesn't go anywhere. That one thing you want it to do, if that one thing requires 4 things, that's fine. But just make sure it's offering that one value. Get that thing done, get it to production. You can use tools like Lovable or Tempo AI. I prefer Tempo AI to Lovable. I don't know, but people prefer Lovable. So they can use Lovable. You can also use Base 44. That's also a good one. And then get it to production, deploy it, send the link to 5 of your friends, of people in your community or people that you know. Say, hey, use this thing. Do you like it? Get the feedback. And then afterwards, refine whatever needs to refine. Now ask them, give me money for it. How much would you give me for this? Ask them for the money. That's the goal. Ask them for the money. If they say, oh no, it's really nice, I love this, but okay, cool. Give me 20 rands. Give me 30 rands. Give me 50 rands. Give me 100 rands. Ask them for that money. If they give you that money, you've got a SaaS product, you've got a subscription model that is possible. Do you understand? And if they don't, then it's just they would like to use it. It's for fun, but you might not be able to get a subscription or a subscription model from them.
Yeah.
And actually, I wanted to say this about subscription model. In Africa, that model is very hard to have in Africa. We Africans will have a different mentality from the West. We have a different mentality from the United States. In the United States, they're used to SaaS. They're used to paying by credit cards. So every of those subscriptions, their Netflix subscriptions, their Hulu, whatever, is coming off of their credit card, not of their actual bank account or debit card. Most of the time, it's from their credit cards. So they're used to it. They're okay, cool. I'll cancel this subscription or whatever. But we don't have that luxury. We don't have as much debt as them.
Yeah.
So we can't just that's why if any debit happens to you, like, what is this?
Yeah.
You don't just say, oh, okay. Like, what is this?
You feel those debit orders.
Exactly. Like, I don't know XYZ, that you don't know the company. So what is this? Unless it's your rent and other important bills, there's not a lot of subscriptions that you have apart from Netflix and maybe a few things, but there's not a lot of subscriptions that you just have lying around everywhere.
But also the disposable income you have is less,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. So in Africa as well. So you need to think about your price. Pricing is very important when you're building. We used to have subscription. We still have it, but most of the time we're going to be making money, or we're making money from the pay per
transaction.
So every time you pay, we take 2.5%.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Wow. Yeah. So it's those creative ways to adapt to the markets in which you operate.
Know where you are.
Man. So we've been building a software on Replit, and we've been running into issues just because of lack of knowledge when it comes to software engineering. So I'm gonna pester you after this to see what your thoughts are on that.
No worries.
So yeah, I think going forward in terms of SwiftBooks, in terms of, you also mentioned there's a separate building. Sorry,
Muse Studios.
Yeah. What is the future looking like? How are you positioning these companies?
So I think Muse Studios is my most exciting one because that is my experimentation house. So SwiftBook is just a product that we built from Muse Studios. Muse Studios is where I do all the experiments. So for me, the way I say it is, if I can help 5 founders launch and make a lot of money. Obviously, I've helped a lot of founders launch over the years. That's fine. But if I can help 5 launch and make money that people are talking about them, that's where I'm going. So yeah. I want to help, especially non-technical founders.
Growth businesses.
Exactly. So I want to help non-technical founders really build something that out of nothing, basically build a product, a software product that they can start making money from, to the point where they are shocked, wow, guys, this thing is making money.
Yeah.
That's what a tech startup is, So I want to do that. I want to have fun. I want to experiment, and I want to work with clients across the United States, Australia, Dubai, Canada. Okay, maybe not Canada.
Oh, why not Canada? What did the Canadians do to you?
No, nothing. Just I think they're very conservative. I don't.
Okay.
They're not like whatever they want to do it in Canada, for Canada, everything.
No, that's not a bad thing.
Exactly, it's not a bad thing. It's they're fine. But US, they're very exploratory. So you can work with a US client or US founders or US business or even a UK business. UK also as well. Australia as well. Australia is also like Canada, but it's slightly more open.
Okay.
Slightly more open, especially the private businesses or the startups, slightly more open. Dubai also a lot, but Dubai requires you to be there. They want to see you, so they would hey, come take a flight, come see us.
Yeah.
So, but Canada, we'll find someone here. We'll find someone by next door neighbor. So I'm okay, cool.
Nice, that's awesome. I'm glad to see where you go with it. And yeah, there was a lot of lessons learned from this conversation. So thank you so much for coming through.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Josh. I really appreciate it. This has been a very fun conversation. I think. Yeah, probably love to come for a second round again. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. But I definitely enjoyed myself. Yeah, and look forward to more conversations after this.
Awesome.
The attention span for music has become so short. Whereas back in the day, music was really that's how we connected with a lot of artists. I manage a club in Cape Town called Drama. I'm a marketing manager at a club in Cape Town called Enzo. I have an events company with Timber. I can't count back how many event properties I've done. And with everyone, I learned something. You see Shishinga is doing an event. You come through to the event, you see there's 200-300 people at a venue that takes 200-300 people. So you say the venue's full, Shishinga's successful, great. You go home, you think, I'm smiling to the bank. But I probably lost 20,000 rand. I love Africa. I love the idea of connecting Africans who live in different spaces, and that's what I love about Soke. Soke is a global event, but that's a Cape Town event that got exported. By the way, I think it's the most exported event out of Cape Town ever. You can make the same meal, but you can never copy the sauce. The idea of like classism and racism really hit when I got to Cape Town. I remember saying, I think I'm gonna quit DJing, bro.
What's next on the menu for Tashinga?
I'm giving you announcements that have not been announced anywhere else.
Tashinga, let's go.
Thank you so much for watching this latest episode of the C.Cast. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to achieve a huge mission and we need you to invest in it. The best way to do that is by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and leaving a comment down below. By doing that, you help the algorithm understand that we are offering content that is valuable and it will reach more people. There might also be someone out there that just wants to learn a lesson or who might be able to take something away from the podcast. Share it with them. And lastly, if you'd like to be more involved in the community, if you want access to opportunities, knowledge from our experience in the digital marketing space, or to connect with other people who are like-minded and uplifting the continent, starting businesses and using tech and creativity to make them successful, join the WhatsApp group by scanning the QR code and we'll chat with you there. Until then, bye.